Journey of Meaning, Part 2. From Seeing to Meaning. Every journey needs a point of departure. For meaning, before we get into metaphor or anything like that, that point of departure is perception. Before language can reshape the world, we first have to agree on what that world looks like. This is one of the most important things that language does. It articulates what we can see, hear, feel, touch and taste with our own senses. Before we can even think about using metaphors or tell stories or create symbols, we need a shared understanding of the everyday world around us. Every piece of figurative language depends on this common ground, on the hundreds of thousands of things we already recognize and take for granted. These become so fundamental to our perception, so stable in our collective understanding that they pass almost unnoticed. Consider the following largely unremarkable observations. The sky is blue, the snow is white, stone is hard, fire is hot, honey is sweet, grass is green, water flows, the mountain is high. These statements describe reality, but on a semantic level, they are actually doing one of the most important jobs that language has. They help us build a shared reality by linking objects with their most familiar qualities. When children learn the word stone, they also learn that stone is hard. When they learn the word fire, they also learn that fire is hot. When these connections are repeated over and over again, they become part of our shared understanding of the world. Eventually, the object and the qualities of that object become so familiar that we stop noticing them altogether. So, as well as helping us describing the world around us, this shared understanding makes new meaning possible. If we didn't all associate stone with hardness, then the phrase heart of stone wouldn't make much sense. If water wasn't understood as something that flows, such as in a river, then the flow of ideas would feel utterly baffling. In other words, metaphors don't create meaning out of thin air. They build on the shared knowledge that we have already developed of our physical environment. Another example comes from Dylan Thomas's epithet of a fishing boat bobbing sea from under milk wood, from the exquisite line slow black, crow black, fishing boat bobbing sea. It might not be a phrase we have heard prior to this, but the imagery is immediately recognizable. It aptly describes the visual rhythm of the tide causing the sea to move up and down. The interesting thing is that language does not treat every feature of the object as equally important. A stone has a color, a texture, a temperature, and a weight. But when we think about stone, we almost always think about its hardness. We remember honey for its sweetness, not its stickiness. Rivers are known for the way they flow and not for the sounds they make or the sediment they carry. So, language or culture is selective, picking out the features that are most useful for helping us understand the world and build new ideas. These associations that are so familiar to us become the foundation on which metaphors and other forms of figurative language are built. And as a sidebar note, it is possible that different cultures might select different features of the physical object. So while we select the hardness of stone as our defining feature, other cultures might highlight the color of stone or its temperature or what it feels like to touch stone or any feature that may not be so salient to us. And that this not only goes to the root of how cultural worldviews may diverge, but also how linguistic differences arise and how different languages develop different metaphorical systems because they first select different aspects of the same physical world as the basis for later meaning. Before metaphor begins, cultures may already be organizing reality in different ways, but meaning hasn't started to travel yet. Stone is still just stone. Fire is still just fire. Language is still helping us build a shared picture of the world. And this shared picture is the foundation for everything that comes next. Without this foundation, there would be no metaphors, stories, songs, or symbols. We couldn't compare one thing with another, like comparing a person to a summer's day, if we didn't first agree on what these things were like. This is why literal language is far more important than it seems. It gives us the common ground that makes the journey of meaning possible. Thank you for listening. Mark Gibson, Kielder, United Kingdom, August 2026. copyright asserted by Mark Gibson.